What are Nigerian dwarf goats? Well, hey friends, welcome back to Cattywampus Acres. How is everybody doing today? We're going out to check on all of our Cattywampus crew out here. It's a little warm out here. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm not going to complain. Better than cold weather because we can grow in this weather, right? Tony! Tony! What is up, Tony? He's actually inside today. It's because he was out earlier. It's later in the day today. What's up, Jolene? Hi, sweet girl. Well, here at Cattywampus Acres, we get a lot of questions. And a lot of those questions have to do with our goats. And specifically, with our goats. Thank you, sir. Specifically with our goats, they want to know what kind of goats we have. And a lot of people don't really understand like the difference between miniature goats and the full-size goats and dairy goats and meat goats and all that stuff. And although I'm not going to bore you with all the nonsense like that, I did want to talk about today what are Nigerian dwarf goats, because that is the breed that we started with, and we still have Nigerian dwarf goats. We just in the past couple of years added La Manchas, and that would be Miss Veruca here, that's ever so kindly walking away from us with her babies. But Miss Jolene here and of course Mr. Tony are both Nigerian dwarf goats. And I really think that Nigerian dwarf goats are a really good goat if you're going to get started with goats for the first time. They are small, they're a whole lot of fun in just a small package. Would you agree? Do you agree? Are you a whole lot of fun in a small package? Well, we know that roosters are a whole bunch of fun. Let's go see what everybody's doing. Oh yeah, these two are definitely pregnant. You two got babies in your belly, I can already tell. Mr. Raj. Oh my, oh my. So, Peyton here. Peyton and Tina were actually our Nigerian dwarf goats from our first kidding we ever had here on the farm. And Roger is a buckling that we just got from some friends of ours, another farm. What do you have a problem with him for? He's got those pretty blue eyes, and I'm thinking, oh, there you go. Remember when I said they're compact and small, and yeah, they're also slightly mischievous. Ali! He's sleeping. I don't know what y'all's deal is. You're just ornery today. You've had food. You have hay over there. I guess yeah. If you look at their bellies, that is very indicative of being pregnant. Nigerian dwarf goats do have bigger bodies anyways for their size, but when they get this shape to them here, I think you got babies. And the fact that they should have gone into heat again, ow, they should have gone into heat again, and that doesn't appear they have to, because Roger here would have certainly, he'd been trying to take him on dates, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like I said, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Let us know what you've been doing on your farm lately. Have you been planting? Have you been getting new animals? Have you been having babies from these animals? Yeah, just let us know what's been going on at your place. Hey, I'm coming to talk about goats. Is there anybody down here that can help me? Anybody down here that can help me talk about goats? Luna, do you know anything about Nigerian dwarf goats? Because you are not one. You're a giraffe goat. Luna is a full La Mancha. So is her son here, her little buckling. My goodness, you guys. Jeez Louise. Everybody's worked up today. Quag, he is her boy. Mr. Miyagi is the big daddy on the farm. He is a full Nigerian dwarf. So is Bojangles. My goodness. And so is Buford. And if you didn't know, this ramming each other, this is how goats play. And Nigerian dwarfs are about that all the time. They play a lot. Isn't that right? So like I was saying, we have been fielding a lot of questions about what kind of goats people should actually get. And they're like, this is my first time. I've never had goats before. I'm just starting a farm. Usually it's everybody's, oh my gosh, they're gonna knock me over. Everybody always says, I have a few chickens and I want to get goats. Well, I say that Nigerian dwarf goats are certainly going to be your best bet. Because as you can tell, they're very friendly. So are the La Manchas, but they're a little bigger and they eat a lot more. Isn't that right? Okay. Ow, that sort of hurts. Not gonna lie. That sort of hurts. These two. Wow, man, you're really pushing on there. Ouch, that really hurts. This dude is, I don't have the strength that your skull has. Yeah. So, Buford he's probably about 7 years old, and he's a wether, and so he's a castrated. Buford here is a castrated male. Same with Bojangles and Miyagi, the big daddy. Like I said, he is a lot of our babies on the farm came from Miyagi here. He's a good-looking dude. One thing to remember if you're going to get goats, and especially if they're bottle fed like these goobers, be prepared for their affection. Their affection, isn't that right? Isn't that right? Oh, your affection, Francine. That's her spot to lay, apparently. If you are going to have goats, remember to have your infrastructure in place before you get the goats. And so you need some kind of 3-sided shelter or a barn, whatever works best for you. You need fencing. And boy, oh boy, I cannot stress enough how important the fencing is. The fencing we use is red brand fencing. It is specifically for sheep and goat, and it's woven fence. Hello. And the woven fence is better than the welded fence because these goats will wear your fence out, trust me. We like to use T-posts. We used to use wooden posts and they just started rotting, so we started using these T-posts here, and they work really good, and because I don't like digging holes, you don't have to dig any holes. You holding hands? Nigerian dwarf goats are a miniature goat breed, and they are specifically a dairy breed. A lot of you have probably heard of pygmies before, and pygmies and Nigerian dwarfs are actually different breeds of goats. Pygmies are actually a slightly bit smaller. They actually are a miniature meat goat, and so they have a different meat to bone ratio. Where, can you see this? What a sight this is! Got an udder hanging out. She's going under. Apparently the grass on that side of the fence is good. This is just ridiculous. Silliness. So Nigerian dwarf goats will usually get about 2 feet at the withers or the shoulders. That's as big as they'll get. And I'll show you Buford here. He is as big as you're gonna get typically when it comes to wethers. Miyagi is pretty much as big as you get when it comes to bucks. And our girls, we'll go talk to them back in a minute here, but Peyton and Tina, they are about as big as you get when it comes to does. I do have to cover some misconceptions because there are a lot in the goat world that people don't know about. And one of those things that we need to talk about are that people think that they're billy and nanny goats, and that is not actually a thing. They're called bucks and quit it. Bucks and does, just like deer. If I could focus here. And when they're castrated, like this guy here, they are called wethers. When they're little, they're called bucklings and doelings. When they've had children, they are called dams and sires. And so Miyagi, where is he at? There is our herd sire. When you've kidded before, which is what it's called when you give birth as a goat, then you are a dam. But when I say you can't ever be one of those. You're not a goat unless you're goat watching this. And I will say Nigerian dwarf goats are some of the best dairy goats to get into because they're very easy to feed. They're very easy to handle. You can push them around and move them around if you need to. You don't need big trailers to do anything. And obviously, let's see if they like treats here.
Forget we have them. Okay, Miyagi, that's my entire hand. Luna, you just put your nose
neck,
up.
though.
You don't even want these. Like, you're not even eating them. Quag, come here. Okay, we're everyone but Quag.
So I'm just telling them about Nigerian dwarf goats and what they are. You know anything about them?
I know a few things. We have a few. A few maniacs.
Do you think that's a good thing for people to get into if they're starting with goats?
I do. I think Nigerian dwarfs are the best first goats. Get you some wethers.
I agree.
And,
oh my lord.
Yeah. Figure out the basics of them and the infrastructure of them.
Yep. I agree. A lot of people like to get into goats for clearing brush, and that is a really good thing. You just you do have to be careful when you're having them clear brush and make sure that there's nothing bad for them, like azaleas. Tony here is showing us that goats will eat grass, but they prefer to browse and they like leaves a lot. This is why infrastructure is important. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Tony? Just like that. So these two are dams because they've had babies before. And what's really cool is we have these two, which are mini manchas, and they are actually a mix between Nigerian dwarfs and American La Manchas. Baruka is their dam, huh? These two are so stinking sweet. Tony. Tony's quite a bit older than them, but he is about the same size. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? You too sweet? Are you too sweet? I think we're deciding on a name. I think we got a lot of suggestions from y'all watching, and a lot of our subscribers, and that face. And I liked one of them, and they said Laurel and Hardy. And so the little girl we'll call Laurel, and the little boy we'll call Hardy. How's that sound? Laurel and Hardy. What do you think of that? You like your names? We will only be keeping Laurel permanently. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? We're just keeping you, huh? And Hardy, we will probably sell. And same with old Tony, because you can only have so many bucks around and males around, because they are a lot to feed if they're not providing milk or anything. Some dust bathing going on over here. Got some serious dust bathing going on over here. Momeev, the gigantic rooster. Hello, how are y'all? Uncle Rico? King George? How's everybody? How's everybody, gals? So one thing about Nigerian dwarf goats that a lot of people may not know is that their milk is actually super high in butterfat, which is really, really good and tastes a lot better than normal goat milk, and very, very nutritious. When they do the studies, they say that Nigerian dwarf goats can get between 8 and 10% butterfat in their milk, which is phenomenal, being that cow's milk is about 3%. The La Manchas, they're about 4 or so. So almost 10% butterfat, that's incredible. And so it's very creamy, it's very sweet, and it tastes amazing. It just tastes amazing. I love it, and we make a lot of cheese from it, and it produces phenomenal cheese. So if you're looking for a goat milk to make cheese, get yourself a couple Nigerian dwarf goats. But all in all, I just wanted to sort of talk to y'all a little bit about about them, what they do and what they are, and just sort of clarify stuff a little bit. If you have a small homestead or a small area in your yard that you want to use for goats, I definitely would consider Nigerian Dwarf goats. That's probably going to be your best bet, just because they only eat a little bit. You can get by with, you always want to have two, I will say that. You do always want to have two goats whenever you get them, never just one. They very much need companions. If you're getting square bales of hay, usually 2 or 3 flakes of hay is enough for, a couple Nigerian Dwarf goats. Unless they're in milk or they're breeding, then you need to up their food and their protein and fat a little bit. It's parkour over here. You definitely want to give them some space to play, really a lot when they're babies, because they like it and they like to be up high and way up in the sky. Tony's staring at me back there. Can I help you? And we have a lot of videos. If you want to check out our other videos on more specific stuff about Nigerian Dwarf goats and goats in general, please, I'll put a playlist at the end here that you can check out on YouTube. Nigerian Dwarf goats are definitely one of the most loving and fun goats to have around. They're playful, they're easy to take care of, and you don't need to do a whole bunch with them except feed them, make sure they have plenty of water, and you really just want to trim their hooves and maybe 1 or 2 shots a year. That's it. That's really all you need to do, and they'll take care of you. Look at that belly. Look at that thing, man. Belly in there. Jeez Louise. So see if Tony has any final words. You got anything final to say to the people out here, Tony? Tony says, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us at Cattywampus Acres. He also says that when you homestead, you're home fed. And he says, we'll see you guys next time. Isn't that right? See him next time, Tony. Say, I'll see you next time. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time here at Cattywampus Acres.